Hey, how you doing? Dan and Nzinga here again. You guys made it. You made it. You made it to the fourth conversation. Congratulations. Good job. Trust me. Keep pushing on these conversations. They may seem a little bit boring, but there's really some good stuff in there that's actually pretty exciting if you focus on what's important. Today we're going to talk about mastery. Mastery. You need to become a master at your profession, master at salespeople. Again, this is a video for how to become a top sales rep in pretty much any industry that you are in. And there are just a couple conversations we need to have. You need to get through the baseline of it. Go read back the tapes, take pause, take notes, because this is really, really good stuff on how to become a top rep. Today we're going to talk about mastery. Now, your objective is to master your profession, what you're selling. You have to practice mastery. Now, in mastery, to become a master at something, really master, you're never done mastering it. So you never get to a point where, okay, I'm there. Okay, you have to constantly, continuing keep working on mastering your product, getting better. The minute that you have arrived is the minute you're going to start to regress, and somebody else is going to take your spot. If you want to keep that top spot in the top five, top two, top three in your company, you got to continue working on mastery, keep thinking on ideas and how to get to the top where you're going to get to. Okay, so very excited about the conversation today. And it is a conversation about always improving, continuing to improve, like I just said. So when we talk about mastery, most people see it differently. That's why I give you guys different definitions on what mastery is and what the different things are. Mastery in reality is to be with something exactly like it is, with nothing added or left out. If somebody has mastered something, they are exactly with something the way it is. You're in the moment. There's nothing left out. There's nothing that needs to be added. It is, I would say, a perfect. It is the way it's supposed to be. But it never ends that way. You always have to continue being a master and being in a way where it's perfect. If you've ever had, seen a perfect game or somebody, it's hard. I don't think any NBA player has ever had, at least no great player has ever had a perfect game where they've mastered every single aspect of the game. You never get to that point. But that is what we're trying to do. So the game you're playing is you're trying to be perfect in an imperfect world. And you really quest for that perfection, because no matter what, the game will never be over, because there's always something extra you could have done. There's always a little stumble that you could work on. There's always something that you can improve. So getting excited about mastering your sales ability, your sales skills, getting excited about that is one of the keys that will keep you driving. Turning it into a game and not worried about the commission or what you're going through is very key. Okay, now you want to master your identity. That's the first thing. Before you can master outside, you want to master within yourself of what you are. I remember, my manager, when I was working with one of these companies, and my manager would always, call me, tell him I'm a top 10 rep. He was like, hey, you're a top 10. And because I'd made the top 25, and I'd made the top 10, and he'd always say, I got a top 10 rep here, and all this, and I've always considered my identity was as a top 10 rep, and I worked for being that top 10 rep. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna be a top 5 rep. I don't want to be top. I'm not gonna let him call me top 10 rep no more. That's not who I am. I'm a top 5 rep, and I'm gonna do what it takes, like a declaration. I declared it. I even told him I'm not a top 10 rep no more. Even though I had not done anything, I had not been in the top 5, but I declared it, and I started to master my own identity. When you can master your identity of what you are, and you can change your identity however you want to, that's when you're practicing mastery. And I kid you not, within a month, I was in the top 5, and never was less than that after that for that particular company, because I declared it. I said it. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. Even if I had fallen short many times, it would still been I'm falling short of who I really am. But who I really am, who I've created myself to be, is top 5. So mastery is about your identity. If you see yourself, if your identity, you see yourself as your past identity, then it's going to be hard for you to get different results. You get the same results. And that is, it's in sales, and that's in everything else. If you're, consider yourself as a past screw up or past criminal or past cheater or past whatever it is, and that's how you identify yourself, even if you don't say it out, but that's how you see yourself, then you're going to get the same results. You really have to believe that you have created a new identity and you're another person. You're not that person of the past. I always tell people that's the old Dan. The new Dan is something else. And keep reminding them of the new, because they're going to try to drag you back. Society will drag you back to your old identity because that's what they're comfortable with. Well, you got to create a new identity of yourself and say, this is who I am and this is how I'm going to go. And that's how you got to live. And you got to live into that identity. So you pretty much create yourself from the future, not from the past, not even from the present, which the present is, we'll get into that, of what it is, because the moment that you say this is what you are, then the present is this is what I am. So you don't create yourself from the past and say, well, based on the past, I'm this or I'm going to be this much or that much. No, you create yourself from the future. And the good thing about the future, it could be ahead, far in the future. It could be immediate future. But that's how you're creating yourself. And in mastery, you want to constantly keep creating yourself into the future. You never get to a point where you're satisfied, like I said. It's always into the future. What am I going to do next? Who am I next? What type of rep am I? Yes, I didn't get the MVP, but I'm an MVP rep. I'm an MVP player. I'm you got to keep saying that. What are you and who are you? And even outside, we're talking about sales, but, I do believe, this applies to all of your life. You got to create yourself. I am a faithful husband. I am a great wife. I am a good father, whatever that it is. And that's part of the mastery. And then you live up to who you are and become your true nature. And who you are is who you've created yourself to be. Okay. So mastery is about making a difference and contributing at the level of self. Okay. At your own level. It's contributing to yourself, becoming a different person. It's not about out there how many people really sell. It's about what type of person are you that's able to sell that many people. That's what you're working on. So you want to be a top 10 rep, and top 10 reps usually get, let's say, 20 sales a week or 15 sales a week. Now you are not trying to focus on how many people and changing them. You're really trying to change yourself to be the type of person. What type of person gets 15 sales a week? It's never about them. It's always, when you check the mastery, now you're talking about self-improvement, self-work. What are you doing when you wake up? How much time are you wasting? All this is self, and this is character. Okay? Our greatness is not in changing the world. Our greatness is in changing ourselves. That's what's important. In changing yourself, you will have an effect and influence on the world. But the mastery that I'm talking about, is about changing yourself within yourself. So the question, now that we're on the fourth conversation, what are you going to do to change yourself? And what are you going to focus? To deal with your greatness, of all the great things you're going to do, you got to deal with your smallness. You got to acknowledge that. And that's why mastery is about really dealing with yourself. Because a lot of people try to do great things and they don't acknowledge, or they don't really at all dwell or focus on what is stopping them. And that's why the first conversations I had about what's stopping you was, you got to deal with those issues to get the chains off of you so that you're able to push forward. Again, one of the assignments I want you guys to write in the comments is, what is your smallness? Deal with that smallness. You got to acknowledge it and say, this is where I'm weak. This is where I'm not great. This is an issue that I have, and I'm not like that anymore. I'm gonna move on to be something greater. So to master self, you must acknowledge what you are, what was holding you in the past, what has been stopping you, and the conversations must be had. Okay, so in general, and hope you guys understand the concept of mastery that I'm talking about. In general, people will, say, what can you do for me, and try to change the world. But in reality, everything exists so that you can practice mastery of self. Okay, the hard day that you had at work, there was nobody walking on the sales floor, there was no, whatever the negativity was, was for you to work on that self mastery. What does a top 10 rep do in those situations? What does a top 5 rep do in those slow day situation? Are you a top 5 rep, or are you somebody who just can get big numbers, or are you is your fabric made of that, of being that top 5 rep? So that's basically the thing that we want to get excited about is mastery, and saying, I'm gonna master this. I'm gonna master myself. I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna put time aside to 20 minutes a day, to watch a video, to take notes, read a book. Like I said, I have great books that I'm reading. I can't wait to share them in these videos. But for now, we have to get into the conversation of that. We're gonna practice mastery. We're gonna practice becoming better. We're gonna practice all of that. Okay, the true master. He is so entwined with what he's doing. There's really no distinction between his work and his play. His work becomes a game of mastery and trying to improve himself all the time, and it becomes exciting. Every day is an opportunity for him to practice mastering whatever he's doing. I mean, this is big stuff. I mean, for me, this is exciting, because every day I wake up and I can go to work and play. And play on my work on myself. I remember when I used to play basketball. We have training camp. We used to have to run a mile in a certain amount of time, and every day you try to beat that time, and it would be painful. Running a mile in 5:20, 5:25 used to be hard. It used to be very painful. Getting to 5:15, and I just remember, dreading it, but at the same time, excited to see how far I could push myself. If I could push myself just a little bit further, if I could go just a little bit harder, and see my time improve, even though I know I was about to put myself through, 5 minutes of pain and discomfort. It's not comfortable, but it was exciting to practice that and to be able to do that and to be able to see how well I can push my mind. The body can handle it. It's the mind that gets in the way. Your body can handle anything. You'll pass out before your body can't handle it. If you're pushing yourself too much, your body will literally pass out and go unconscious. As long as you haven't fallen unconscious, you're not dead. It's your mind getting in the way if you're being stopped, and that's just the truth. So, in mastery, last thing I'm gonna say to finish off, mastery is really pursuing a vision of yourself, within yourself. Okay, who do you want to be? So make that declaration again of who you are, who you want to be, and how you're gonna practicing mastery, and that will start putting you on the pace to becoming a top rep. Because now you're not worried about, it's not about the sales, it's about changing yourself and how you become, and this is a beautiful thing. So put in the comments if you guys have any questions. I want you to comment something about, to acknowledge a smallness that you have. So the opposite of greatness is smallness. Before you can get to greatness, you got to acknowledge the smallness. All right, that's all I have for today, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.